Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest individual, with an estimated net worth of about US $250 billion, has attacked America's flawed educational system on several occasions. However, instead of continuously complaining about it, the Tesla and SpaceX founder put his money where his Twitter fingers were by founding his own school. Incepted in 2014, the cutting-edge school with its unique educational system quite differs from the typical educational paradigm of traditional modern education around the globe today. Other than the fact that the school is located at the California SpaceX plant, which was its founding site, it's more difficult to obtain information about the institution or to gain admission than it is to win the lottery. According to a shocking revelation by Ars Technica, Musk sponsors the school to the tune of nearly $500,000, according to documents filed with the Internal Revenue Service, IRS. We could not help but be curious to investigate what goes on behind the scenes of the special school, so stay with us as we take you inside what might be the revolutionary future of our current educational system. Since the mid-20th century, economics and technology have changed at an increasing rate all across the world. This has had a considerable impact on the workplace and consequently on the demands placed on the educational system to prepare students for the job. If we know anything about Elon Musk, it's that when he doesn't like anything, he makes his own version, from vehicles to rockets, motorways, and energy firms. He is regarded as one of the century's greatest inventors, having made significant contributions to future technological breakthroughs. As a scientist, he seems to be extremely concerned about his children's education. Not exactly having the most direct and conventional education himself, it was only a matter of time before the billionaire started questioning the foundation of America's educational system. According to the billionaire, "I just didn't see ordinary schools accomplishing what I thought should be done. I loathed going to school as a kid. It was torture." He also admitted that as a boy growing up in South Africa, he was bullied a lot in school. He believed that much of what people learn is worthless since modern education teaches students too much information that they can comprehend. It's easy to understand what might have led to his strong opinions. From an early age, Musk took an interest in computers and video games around the age of 10. He learned computer programming from a book and, at the age of 12, sold the code for BlazeStar, a BASIC-based video game he made, to PC and Office Technology magazine for around $500. Certainly, no one taught him that in school. He got accepted to Stanford University's Doctor of Philosophy (PhD) program in material science in 1995. He, however, dropped out after 2 days, instead deciding to embrace the internet boom and build an internet firm. The rest, as they say, is history. Despite being somewhat of a controversial person, Musk's special school idea wasn't completely off. This is because, even though society and the economy are increasingly focused on technology and innovation, the typical traditional school is woefully incapable of assisting young people in developing the knowledge and skills required for crucial 21st century work. Today's schools are anything from modern, trapped in the 19th century curriculum and instruction approach. Knowing all this, it isn't so hard to figure out what motivated Elon to establish his school. So in 2014, Musk asked Josh Dan, a former teacher of his children's teacher, whether he'd join him at SpaceX to build a better school. "Let's see what we can come up with." Dan agreed to come aboard and currently oversees the exclusive school. Musk withdrew his 5 sons from Los Angeles Merman School, a K-8 school for talented children, and Ad Astra discreetly debuted on the SpaceX site in Hawthorne, California. In the first year of the new school, the Musk children constituted more than half of the student body. The remainder were all offspring of SpaceX personnel. Since then, the school has grown in population. The school is known as Ad Astra, which is a Latin phrase that means "toward the stars." An apt cognomen given by Musk possibly due to his interest in space. The school is highly exclusive, and according to reports, several SpaceX families have attempted and failed to obtain information on the school, despite being informed during their job interview that it was a benefit. Musk claims students get admitted based on their aptitudes. In a 2015 interview in Beijing, China, he said, "There are no qualifications. Rather than treating school like an assembly line, I think it makes more sense to attend to education to match your skills and a student's abilities. The school certainly has had several unique educational structures, such as the abandonment of age or grade level segregation. This is one major aspect of America's educational system which Musk has always disagreed with. He believed it is inappropriate for children because they have a wide range of interests and abilities that are not limited by their age. Musk's school divides students aged 7 to 14 into groups, and while they earned grades for each task, their learning was not graded on the ABCD scale after each term. The students study applied science, AI, design, and different coding languages, Scheme, Swift, and Scratch. They get to do more hands-on science than they would in a typical school science lab. The school focuses primarily on science and excludes sports, music, and even learning other languages. The rationale behind the exclusion of studying foreign languages in school, however, made sense when Musk explained that it's a moot skill as real-time translation software is getting increasingly widespread and developed. Of course, the students can study all such extracurricular education of interest on their own time. Before we dive further into this, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. The Ad Astra timetable can be summarized in one word as unconventional, since pupils study artificial intelligence and ethical teachings are taught through hypothetical situations, such as decision-making. The emphasis is on problem-solving and challenging pupils to think in new ways. Instead of providing youngsters with their tools in a vacuum, they are taught how to solve issues. The structure is different from typical schools, where children focus on memorizing facts and completing tests. In comparison to traditional knowledge-based academic talents, several of the skills, such as analytical thinking, complex problem-solving, and teamwork, are connected with deeper learning. Educators, business executives, academics, and government organizations all agree that a set of higher-order talents, abilities, and learning dispositions is necessary for success in 21st century society and workplace. What Elon School has managed to achieve is possibly the best educational structure that provides important skills and implementation tactics to help students and workers prepare for a changing and increasingly digital workplace and society. Ad Astra does not stop at standard instruction. It also welcomes scholars and experts from various fields to share their experiences, allowing students to access knowledge from a variety of fields and in a variety of methods. To foster entrepreneurship among its students, Ad Astra has created its own currency, Astra, which students can use to trade with one another. According to Josh Dan, one of the things they do is to create a marketplace called the Bazaar 3 times a year, and at the Bazaar, the kids effectively have their own firms. He provided an example of a student who creates a web page for his peers, including one for a student who bakes gourmet cookies. Chrisman Frank, Dan's old colleague at Class Dojo, paid a visit to Ad Astra a few years later. He was smitten by one aspect of the school: synthesis. Synthesis is a simulation-based learning environment centered on sophisticated team games. Case studies, simulations, and game-based challenges are used to engage students. Students tackled real-world conundrums in this subject, which pushed their thinking to the next level. For example, the students could be asked to determine who at a factory is to blame for polluting a nearby lake. The subject was easily the most popular class in the school. The youngsters were so enthralled that when Chrisman Frank visited Ad Astra in 2017, he became inspired to find a method to provide every youngster the opportunity to participate. Frank persuaded Dan to spin off Synthesis as a for-profit firm in 2020. Frank's ambition was to scale the learning software and train the next generation of superthinkers. Josh and Chrisman established Synthesis as a subscription service and a future education company in November 2020. With the coronavirus pandemic further rupturing the idea of traditional formal education, what Musk has done might just have set the foundation for how aptitudes and skills will matter more in future education. UNESCO estimates that more people will receive formal education in the next 30 years than in all of human history. However, with the internet, remote learning, free-range learning, and other different ideas on how to train children, it's hard to say exactly what formal education will look like soon. If you had the opportunity, would you allow your children to be educated in the mercurial Ad Astra institution? Tell us in the comments. We'd like to know your thoughts. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.